Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Time!
Three on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game!
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni!
Float game for the win! Ayler's gone. Goodbye. Touchdown, Indy. Woo! IU. America. They got a football team now.
Pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Now, here's Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you on this Monday. And what in the wide world of sports is going on? I leave Saturday and it's all regular, but I come back to blizzard-like conditions and then wake up with snow everywhere. What in the world is going on, people? But glad to be here. Glad that you're here. Hope everyone's had a great weekend. Appreciate you joining us. Make sure you lock it right where you got it on your radio dial. Whether you're listening on 97.7 ESPN, the Ref, always the right call down in Evansville or up in the region on the voice of the region, 1230 AM, 104.7 FM WJOB, and in Fort Wayne on Fort Wayne Sports Station 1380, The Fan. Keep it locked right here. You got no reason to go anywhere else. And if you're following on social media, you know what to do. Please subscribe if you haven't, and hit the like button, more importantly, as it helps a ton. Wow, what a weekend! Holy smokes in the state of Indiana, especially if you are an Indiana fan, if you are a Colts fan, buddy, you should be on top of the world right now as, wow, Indiana rolls, not just on the football field. They come up with one of the probably the most incredible win Indiana football's ever had, the most dramatic. There's no doubt. I just can't. You'd have to go back in history, but wow, I think it would be far-fetched to find something where Indiana had to go 80 yards with no timeouts on the road in front of 90,000 people, but they did it in dramatic fashion, as of course Fernando Mendoza finds Omar Cooper in the back of the end zone, and Omar Cooper makes one of the most spectacular catches you're going to see, period. Not the catch was tremendous just by itself. He had to go up, climb the ladder. I mean, up off of the ground to get that ball. Then he has to have the presence of mind. And he did, because if you watch the replay, as soon as he catches the ball, the next thing he does is start looking to the ground and to get that toe in. And man, did he get that toe in. And as good as a catch as that was, I don't know that catch particular was the one that Charlie Becker had earlier, right before that, on the sideline. That was almost harder to get your toe in. And he did as well. And let's talk about Charlie Becker. What a freaking day that dude had. Man, over 100 yards receptions, 7 catches. That was the most. He had 7 catches in a career coming into that game. Had 7 catches on that day. Man, it was incredible. But the calmness to watch Fernando work, gets sacked. First of all, he gets sacked on first down of this drive. So everything that could have gone wrong seemed to be against Indiana, but you know what? They rose up. They were able to do what Indiana's never been able to do. And it was magical to watch, but what you saw is championship caliber play. That's what champion teams do. Backs against the wall in one of the most roughest environments you can be in. Just shook it off. Just went down the field. No timeouts. 80 yards. No timeouts. Minute 10. That scenario is just, it's crazy. As I was coming back from Chicago yesterday, I was rewatching the end of that game, and it made my heart rate rise. Watching the replay, I know what's going to happen, but it's still that dramatic. That whole drive, and I will. I've got to get the call pulled down for. I thought I already had of Gus Johnson, or just pull it up. His call on that touchdown, nuts. It sounds like he almost, his voice just cried. I don't know if he lost his voice on that call or what, but yeah, I definitely want to find that. I had it, and I'll get that re-pulled up so we can listen to that. But man, oh man, was that something. Just wow. And then on the basketball court yesterday up in Chicago at the United Center, that Indiana team showed me a lot. We'll get to talk to Don about this. Don got to call both games, a rarity, but be able to do that back to back like that, he was able to get in from Penn State. But just amazed at, and they were shorthanded. First of all, they were in foul trouble from the start. And I was pretty convinced that the foul trouble was going to cost them that game. I did not think that there was any way they were going to be able to get through as the game progressed toward the end, that they would have guys remaining, to be honest with you. But they did. They managed to make it happen. There was a point, kind of, well, I don't say early in the game, but there were, Indiana only had 8 players active that played in the game. 5 of the 8 had 3 or more fouls with quite a bit of time to play. And I just didn't think they were going to make it through. But they did. I think I sent out a tweet, 5 of the 8 had 3 or more at whatever time it was. But Connor Enright fouled out. I don't know how Tucker DeVries was on fire. I mean, on fire. He was hitting 3-point shots. Then he tried a couple of heat checks, deep threes, didn't go down, but 27 points. Big, I think he had 21 by halftime. Was lit. Then in the second half, Lamar Wilkerson takes over. He starts firing them in. I mean, it was a great team effort because they had to have everybody. All 8 were involved in making that. They're at the end, of course, they got other guys in, but for the game, it was an 8-man rotation. Fred says Tucker made a 3 from the bench. But it was just wow. But it answered a lot of questions. Can this team compete against teams the way they are? Yeah, they can. They won that game handily yesterday, and they were shorthanded and in foul trouble the whole time. But as I've said, they're going to live and die by the 3-point shot. We'll talk to Don more about that. He'll join us in the next segment. Glad to have you along. We've got lots more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. I'm Jim Coyle. We'll be back with Don Fischer after this.
Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemooreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Monday, joined now by the voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fischer. And wow, what a weekend for you, my friend. Saturday, we'll start with that one. I wish I had your call that I could replay right now, and I was not able to get it pulled up because I can only imagine what that was like. But to give you an example you didn't hear, and you probably never hear, Gus Johnson, he lost his mind on the call, and I think may have lost his voice.
Yeah, he got a little.
It is. Here it is.
I can't hear it, but I've heard it, so I know what you're talking about.
Oh, you did hear it? Okay, yeah, I'll replay that later. But I've never heard a call like that. It was his. I'm like, man, his voice just disappeared. I said, I'd love to hear Don's. I was not able to hear yours, but and I will get that replayed. But that had to be just maybe the fun. Is that the funniest game you've ever called in football for Indiana?
Well, it's not the funnest game I've ever called, simply because it was a tussle.
Yeah.
Penn State played like it was their national championship game. And
yeah,
I give them
said that was their Rose Bowl or whatever. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, look, Penn State's really good. They've got tremendous talent. They always have had. They may not be as good at the quarterback position right now because the kid is a young guy and he made some bad throws in that ball game, but Fernando did too. But Fernando's throws were bad because he was being pressured the entire day. It was, I mean, he had a tough day and he got pounded, but he made some of the best throws in that football game on that last drive. It was spectacular what that drive did. Here's the oddity of how many plays do you think were ran in that drive in the final 151? How many plays? There were 10 plays in that drive in a minute and basically.
Which is mind-boggling that you can get that many plays ran in a minute 10.
That's my point. A minute and 20 seconds basically is how long it took him to score that touchdown. And
that's a 4-minute drive normally, Don.
Yeah, the timeouts that were taken that were absolutely perfect. The spiking of the ball. Obviously, there were some incompletions in that drive. But the fact of the matter is that this team, it's one play at a time, never look forward, never look backward. It just one play at a time, focus on what's there. And I know that's the Curt Cignetti coach speak, but that's absolutely the way they played it the whole time. Not too high, not too low, stay in the moment. And these kids buy into that. And that last drive proved it. Because, and think about this, this is the third game this year on the road. Everybody circled these 3 ball games, Iowa, Oregon, Penn State, as games that Indiana could very easily lose. And they won all 3 of them. And they won, well, the Oregon game is the one that they came back and kind of dominated in the second half. After interception, they take it right down the field just like they did on Saturday and score a touchdown. But this football team doesn't get ahead of themselves. And they literally, the philosophy that Curt Cignetti preaches, they did it to a fine tune, so to speak. It was just a spectacular day from that perspective. It was not a great day from a coaching perspective because I guarantee you Curt Cignetti was writing his notes almost on every play in that ball game. And he has plenty of talking points this week going into the Wisconsin matchup on Saturday.
Yeah, one will be that squib kick that they did at the end of the game, which was like, woo, probably that they'd like to have that decision back if to go over, but they were able to get through that because that added a little more drama to it, giving Penn State the opportunity to potentially get in field goal range. But that drive that I've talked about it all weekend. I said that is a championship level team drive. So that's what championship teams do. Their backs were against the wall. They're in one of the most daunting environments possible. They got no timeouts, 80 yards to go, and you've got a minute to 20 seconds to do it. It's an impossible thing. But Charlie Becker, my God, if it wasn't for that catch by Omar Cooper, boy, all day would we be talking about Charlie Becker, because not only did he make a couple of catches like that, but over 100 yards rushing or receiving, 7 catches equals his career output in one game. But man, the next guy up, you did not have Elijah Surratt, and buddy, without Charlie Becker, this doesn't happen.
No question. And then there's another guy that's unsung with this group is Riley Nowakowski, the tight end, who had 3 catches in the ball game, including one of the big ones in that drive down the field. The receiving core has played spectacularly all year long. There's no question about that. Omar Cooper's catch was one for the ages, no doubt about that. How he got, in my opinion, I don't think his right foot touched the ground until he was out of the end zone, but his left foot did. When you look at the video, I've seen it maybe 10 times now, and you look at his right foot, it just looks like he didn't touch anything with his right foot at the very bottom. It's like minuscule, but you can kind of see that he didn't really touch ground. He didn't move a piece of grass or anything. It was just, but his left foot did get down. And it doesn't matter because the officials basically ruled that both feet got in. Right. So at any rate, long story short, the other thing about that was how high Omar Cooper was in the air when he caught that football. And that throw was way up there. I mean, he could have dunked it over The crossbar.
I was looking at that. I'm like, all right, how close is he to the crossbar?
Right.
Yes, if he was trying to do that, he would have. But the amazing thing to me, Don, is you're right. How far he climbed the ladder to get that ball. And Fernando put it where only Omar could get it while he was being about to be crushed. But as soon as he catches that ball, you can watch it. His head turns and he starts looking at the ground. He's looking for a landing spot for his feet.
Right. No question. It was spectacular. No question about it. Like I said, a drive for the ages for this Indiana football team, and it kept Indiana unbeaten, and they're now 10-0, second straight year that they're 10-0, and they've got a chance to win their 11th ball game this coming weekend when they play Wisconsin. And now this football team is in the driver's seat. They basically control their own destiny as far as a Big Ten championship is concerned, a Big Ten championship game is concerned. It's right now it's in their hands, but here's the sad part, not sad. Here's the difficult part. Wisconsin just won their first Big Ten game, and they beat a really good Washington team, a football team that has been coming on all season long, and they knocked them off at Wisconsin. So that's a huge win for the Badgers. They have struggled all year long with quarterback issues because of injuries to their quarterbacks. They've used 4 different guys at the quarterback position. And their defense has played well all season. They've got a really good defense. So Indiana's going to face another defense this week that's capable of putting the stops on Indiana if they don't play up to their capability.
Yeah, I saw that over the weekend as well, Don, and I agree with you 1,000%. The worst thing you can have for a team to get some confidence, especially a dangerous team. And Wisconsin is that. They're a wounded animal. They'll play like they've got nothing to lose because they don't. And Those are very, very dangerous teams. And Don is exactly right.
Here's
Don,
one other thing, Jim, there's one other thing I want to say about this game coming up against Wisconsin for our fan base. I think our fan base needs to come to the stadium on Saturday. It's supposed to be a beautiful day based on what we're hearing, and the temperature is going to be in the 60s. Our fan base needs to come at the beginning of the game, tailgate, whatever you do, and stay till the end of the game and salute this football team no matter what happens on Saturday, because they have given us a second season in a row of history at Indiana football.
Great point. I will make that a point all week. Thank you for pointing that out. And then you were able to make the trip over to Chicago from Happy Valley yesterday to watch another incredible game as Indiana basketball, shorthanded to begin with. And then as this game played out, I was in Chicago. They got in foul trouble immediately, it seemed like. And then that's what I was like, I don't know, even though that they were up kind of good with a confident lead, I'm like, I don't know if they're going to be able to withstand these fouls by the end of the game. And it got close, but it didn't seem to matter. They just kept doing. First half, Tucker DeVries was just on fire. And then in the second half, it was Lamar Wilkerson. They had no answer for it. And Indiana wins comfortably. But while going through that adversity, I was very impressed by that win, Don.
Well, there's no question. Why would you not be impressed with it? Because they were put in a tough position in the first half with all the foul issues that they had. Now, you could say that they put themselves in that position by fouling. However, I still believe – I don't know what's going on with the officials, because we are seeing – and this happens every year. In non-conference ball games at the beginning of the year, it is like all we're hearing – out there, or that we're hearing whistles all the time because they're trying to, I don't know, speed up the game, or the last thing they're doing is speeding up the game because they call all these fouls. But it's like they're touch fouls all the time being called at this point. And it's like that almost every year. And I know that the emphasis is to keep your hands off the guards these days. I guess that's one of the emphasis this year. I'm going to talk to Darren DeVries about that tonight on the talk show. But I guess one of the emphasis is to keep your hands off the guards, because they want to see the ball move. And they at any rate, long story short, that's one of the reasons. And Indiana's getting into foul trouble a little bit because they reach too much. You got to move your feet. Josiah Miles is the perfect example of a guy that struggles with foul trouble because he oftentimes is just reaching out there instead of just moving his feet and staying in front of the guy. But everybody had foul trouble, including Tucker DeVries yesterday.
Yeah, I thought he was going to get fouled out with 4, but yeah, it seems like they were. And Indiana plays an aggressive defense, Don. So that's another thing.
True.
They're going to be up in your face,
Right.
but yeah, it's going to have to be an adjustment of some sort.
And here's the other thing: Indiana has 27 assists.
Yeah.
On their 33 shots. That's remarkable passing. It's a remarkable teamwork. And they had only 8 turnovers in this ball game as well. They've had 11 and 8 in their first 2 games, so 19 so far. This is a basketball team that's just fun to watch. They just play the kind of basketball that Indiana fans love, and I think it's going to be a really good season.
Yeah, out of 33 made shots, only 6 were unassisted. I mean, you're right. That's remarkable. This week you've got inside Indiana basketball Monday night tonight, of course, out at Hoosier Hanks with Darren DeVries. Then on Thursday, inside Indiana football with Coach Signetti. And man, I'm sure that everything is getting packed out there for these events now.
Well, there's no question the fans are showing up at Hoosier Hanks, and we hope it's a packed house again tonight. We look forward to Kurt Signetti on Thursday night and another basketball game coming up on Wednesday. And Saturday, of course, Wisconsin comes to town, and then it's another basketball game against Incarnate Word on Sunday. Same schedule as last week. I just don't have to travel. Got to go.
Busy. Have a good one, Don Presser. Appreciate you, my friend.
See ya.
You betcha. Man, the Fish joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. And yeah, that was an incredible weekend of sports to watch. Then the Colts, how about that? Pulling out that win over in, I almost said Dublin, in Berlin, Germany. I almost forgot who they're playing. The Falcons, Michael Penix and the Falcons. They go to overtime. Falcons can't score. The Colts keep them off. Then they score the touchdown to win 31-25. Wow. Just a huge win for them. And what about Jonathan Taylor? He continues to light it up. Man, it is just a great season by the Colts. They turned the ball over twice. They took 7 sacks, missed 2 kicks, including an extra point and a field goal, which kind of forced them to get into this overtime. They went just 2 of 12 on 3rd down. How the hell are you even in a game? Only 2 of 12 on 3rd down. They converted only 2 of their 4 red zone opportunities into touchdowns and were penalized more than twice as often for more than twice as many yards as the Falcons. But they still come away with the win, mainly in part of the performance of Jonathan Taylor. 32 carries. He carried the rock 32 times. That's old school running right there. 224 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, including that game winner from 8 yards out. The walk-off. Jonathan Taylor bucking for I don't know about MVP, although he's playing at an MVP level. We'll talk about that with Greg Rakestraw in the next segment. I definitely think he's probably the leader in the clubhouse for the offensive player of the year. But MVP, I looked I looked at this. It's been since 2012 since a quarterback, or since a non-quarterback, I'll say, has won the league's MVP award. But I don't know that there's anybody, a quarterback that's really sticking out right now that would grab that. Jonathan Taylor is legitimately kind of up there for that award. We'll see. There's more of the season to go, obviously, but man, yesterday was just he's already had a great year, tremendous year. He was already having an AP offensive player of the year kind of a season. Well, yesterday just kind of ramped that up a lot. I mean, really, I think put some distance between him and anybody else. Yeah, James, I agree with you. He says the MVP never goes to a running back. It's idiotic. It's kind of like the Heisman. This became a quarterback award. But, yeah, we'll see. Adrian Peterson was the last, of course, a running back, but James Mark Taylor's getting up. He's getting up into that. Let's take a break so we can get Greg Rakestraw on. We'll talk more about that and plenty more. Glad to have you along on this Monday. Jim Coyle, I'll be back with Greg Rakestraw after these messages.
Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's COYLE, to receive a discounted fundraiser. Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Monday. Glad to have you with us. Greg Rakestraw from the ISC Sports Network joining us. Make sure you go to the ISC Sports Network and are enjoying all of their great coverage. Greg Rakestraw, how are you? How was your weekend?
My weekend was great. What about yourself?
Not bad, not bad. Got out of Chicago before the big snow hit, but I was looking at just happened to be looking at the forecast and saw that they were expecting 5 to 8 inches. I'm like, what the hell? And then I get out of there and come back here, and I'm like, it's still blizzard-like. I'm like, what in the wide world of sports is going on? It's winter all of a sudden, but that's okay. What an incredible weekend all the way around. Has been talking about Indiana on the football and basketball side, but then the Colts. The Colts, man, what a great win. Jonathan Taylor, I'm talking in the last segment that, NFL MVP always goes to a quarterback or running. Yeah, quarterback now. It's kind of like it's become like the Heisman. 2012, Adrian Peterson, the last guy that was not a quarterback to win that award. But Jonathan Taylor is there a quarterback right now that is kind of in that era that would knock him out? Yeah, I think I lost Rake there for a second, but we'll see if we can get him back. I'm sure we will. Greg will rejoin us here in a second. I think he lost his connection, but yeah, I just don't. I think that maybe he is. Is he the leader for that? And I'm talking about Jonathan Taylor. I know that there are a lot of quarterbacks that could be having an incredible year that I might be missing out on because it's hard to cover all of that stuff with everything going on. But I normally you just kind of know. And Josh Allen, you'd think of him with the Bills. They're not having that great season right now, or they lost yesterday, I think. So Patrick Mahomes, it's okay, but Jonathan Taylor is really just sticking out. Am I wrong? But yeah, I think that he's the guy. But Andrew says Daniel Jones might be in for MVP conversation too. But yeah, it's something. We'll see. We'll ask Greg that question. Greg, Greg, you heard me talking about MVP possibility. Is there anybody? Daniel Jones. Someone mentioned Daniel Jones, but Jonathan Taylor seems to me to be having an MVP kind of season, and that's hard for a running back to do in the NFL.
Correct. He is certainly in the mix. I think he's the leading candidate. It kind of helps that you have, you've got a few quarterbacks that are vying for it, but not one player that is standing out. It also helps that he is having this season, Jim, for the team that has, one of the best records in the National Football League. So the other candidates that immediately kind of come to mind, Daniel Jones, I think, was in that mix. Maybe that's cooled a little bit in the last couple of weeks. I think Baker Mayfield is in that mix. Now the Buccaneers have 3 losses on the season. I think Matthew Stafford is in that mix, given the year that he has had with the Los Angeles Rams. Maybe Drake May is in that mix because, again, the Patriots are 8-2 and are having their best season in 5 or 6 years. So, but there is not a dominant quarterback candidate this year. And so in terms of the MVP award, JT is having a great season at the right time. Jim, I think he's the front runner right now. That is always subject to change over the next 7 or 8 weeks.
Yeah, and what a win yesterday. They have to go to overtime over in Berlin, Germany, taking on Michael Penix Jr., the former Hoosier, and the Atlanta Falcons. But they get it done by shutting down the Falcons in overtime and getting Jonathan Taylor scoring from 8 yards out on the ground. I think his third of the day, a walk-off TD. And again, the Colts win. That's the biggest thing. We were talking about Indiana and their game. Indiana wins. Getting the win is the thing, and that is what carries over. And now they can come back with that in their bag and roll forward.
Correct. And having that going into the bye, I think, is massive. If they don't find a way to win that game, now we're saying, hey, it was a great start to the season, but clearly something's up. They've lost back-to-back games, teams, and getting, closer to them not having that number 1 seed. Now, even though it wasn't the best Colts performance, no, you still found a way to get the win. You're still the number 1 seed currently. Houston did you a solid by beating Jacksonville and come from behind fashion. Now you're 2.5 games clear of the Jaguars. And again, that could be back to 2 games by the time the Colts return to action. But the Colts play the Jaguars twice. The Colts play the Texans twice in terms of their last 7 games of the season. So it is an arduous schedule left. The non-divisional opponents the Colts have remaining at Kansas City, at Seattle, and then home to the Niners. So frankly, there's no easy games left on the schedule. So this is a great chance for the Colts to return home, rest, recharge, refocus, because there is still a lot left to learn about this football team, but you do like the answers that you saw a day ago.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of seemed like they bounced back. They were kind of dipped for a minute, but have rejuvenated. And to be able to do that by taking that long trip and getting that done, that's hard enough right there, to go over to Germany, the time zone difference, and be able to manage all of that, come out with the win, come back. You took care of business. Now you got to get everything back going and move forward with the schedule that you mentioned. I mean, those road games, yikes.
Right.
Boy, Seattle, first of all, it's a long trip, but Seattle's just playing well right now. And Patrick Mahomes, they've got Patrick Mahomes. That's all you got to say.
Good news is for the Colts, they've got a style of play that travels well. Now, obviously, the big concern for the Colts is the absence of DeForest Buckner. And the hope is that he is back at the end of his IR stint, but it's not guaranteed. He is out at least until the Seattle game. And Shane Steichen, the only media availability the Colts have on the bye week, Shane will have a Zoom at 3:00 today. And we'll see if there's any sort of indication as to, what those return chances look like for DeForest. Again, it's a month from now that he would potentially be back. He's got to miss 4 games. Just missed the first one. The reason I bring that up is that this is a different team against the run with DeForest Buckner. And there's only a handful of guys on this Colts roster, Jim, that you can't replicate. And DeForest is one of them. Grover Stewart is his tag team partner, defensive tackle, is the other. There's backups there, but they're not close to being DeForest Buckner. But what the Colts can do, whether it's home or road, is run the football. And potentially that might be the Colts' best defense right now, is just hand the ball to 28 and let him go to work. So, the break is a chance for everybody to kind of recharge a little bit. One of the phrases you hear from NFL coaches a lot is self-scout. And I guarantee you that's what this team is going to do. And don't be surprised if there may be a heavier dose of Jonathan Taylor going forward. A, to try to lighten the load on Daniel Jones, but B, knowing you might be kind of playing the time of possession game, because, yes, you could have Sauce Gardner, Mooney Ward, and Kenny Moore lined up across the line of scrimmage as your top 3 cornerbacks. I like that. But you are a different defense without DeForest Buckner, whom is going to be gone now for the next month.
Yeah, and so they've got to just adjust to that and move forward. Next man up, as they say, and you've just got to have that. And it's a little harder in the NFL because you only have 53 guys,
right?
Which are spread out to equally offense, defense, special teams. So you have less to pick from. So your next guy up has got to be dependable and can fill the role.
Well, next guy up is this real nice football phrase / coaching phrase, and that's what you sing to the guys in the locker room. People that analyze this like you and me, we can be a bit more honest, and we can tell people, hey, yeah, there's a guy behind him, but he ain't that dude. There's not many
DeForest
people.
Buckner.
Right, exactly. There's a reason why that guy is on his 3rd NFL contract, and if he wants to, he'll be on his 4th NFL contract a couple of years from now, because he is really good, and he has been that way for his 10 years in the league. And again, he's built like a defensive end, but plays defensive tackle. You don't have that combination of athleticism. You may have 1 or 2 guys like that on an NFL roster. You definitely don't have 2 or 3 guys like that at one position. So I think what you will see happen is I think you'll see it. And again, this is part of the whole Sauce Gardner acquisition. I think you can see this group become more aggressive defensively, because Sauce can just kind of stick with one guy. Mooney Ward would be the same thing, and so you make up for maybe what you're not able to do in terms of run defense or interior pass rush by simply sending more bodies, by being more creative, trying to give quarterbacks a tougher time recognizing what defense is coming. I think that is the pivot now you will see from this football team.
Yeah, and then the addition of Sauce Gardner, and he was able to play in this game. First of all, it's amazing that you can get someone that quickly, and especially with a trip all the way to Germany. He had to be cleared
from concussion protocol right before that. And I think he was cleared, the day before they left or something.
But you want to hear Sauce's week? Here we go. Traded on Tuesday, in Indianapolis on Wednesday, cleared concussion protocol Thursday, hopped a flight to go play in Germany Thursday night. And again, a lot of things in the NFL are similar. It's just a matter of the lexicon, a matter of the verbiage. Hey, what you would say is this in your system, we call it this way. But he also plays a position, and I want to make sure I give the proper credit for this. I believe that Chris Carter is the first guy that gets credit for saying the phrase cat coverage. You cover that cat right there. You can kind of do that at the cornerback position too. You can say, Sauce, hey, go get that guy. Now, if you watch yesterday's game, you'll notice Sauce pretty much stayed on the guy that was the boundary guy, on the outside guy. And maybe that is in part because of having a guy like Kenny Moore. So when Drake London had success yesterday, normally it was because they had moved him to a slot receiver to get him on Kenny Moore or try to get him on a linebacker, oftentimes Jermaine Pratt. But success is a relative term, and this goes back to a guy that used to be the quarterback at Indiana University. Michael Penix was 12 of 28 yesterday. That's not good. And so
that's rookie. Those are rookie numbers.
Yeah. And again, you're not seeing the development from him that I think they'd want to. And you almost kind of wonder, not head coaching change, but it's easier to change an offensive coordinator or a quarterback coach than it is a quarterback once you've kind of invested in that rookie draft pick. There's some serious talent down there. And you kind of wonder if there might be an offensive coordinator change in Atlanta, trying to say, all right, let's see if we can get somebody else, because if Penix kind of struggles like that again, say next year, now you're having a different conversation as a franchise.
Yeah, because they have got to get that return on investment that they have made in him. Because when you do that that's your guy, man.
And Jim,
because
they are paying a guy a lot of money to sit on the sidelines and watch right now. Kirk Cousins is getting some serious money to be the backup quarterback in Atlanta, and I get wanting to play Penix. And I'm not sure you get anything by going back to Cousins and knowing they're now 3-6. And again, I don't think there's going to be much of a postseason, if any, for the Atlanta Falcons. And frankly, our concern is the Colts, not the Falcons. But that's one of the things that hits me. And again, it's just a reminder of what the last handful of years have been like for the Colts. When you get the quarterback position right, life is so much easier in the National Football League. And when you get it wrong, there is this cascading effect that affects literally everything else you do on an NFL roster.
Yeah, what do you, if you're the Falcons, especially the ownership, what do you do when you're sitting there, you're paying this guy this money and he's not doing a damn thing?
Maybe it's why you have a different plan in terms of drafting Penix or signing Cousins in the first place. But I think Arthur Blank is going to be all right. I think he and his family are going to be able to eat just fine. Again, I think there are corresponding moves that get made there in the offseason.
All this money, man, coaching, the money that's being paid to coaches, not to coach players that are. Can I get a job?
Now, wait a minute.
Get one of these
jobs?
Wait a
minute. I know the type of cash you're getting from Reynolds Family Dentistry to have their logo next to your head. So I'm sure you have new teeth and all kind of cash, courtesy of the good people at Reynolds Family Dentistry. So, Jim, you should not be one to complain.
Well, you are great at that, as you're as good as any NASCAR driver, and Dr. J is very good, and I appreciate him. But you know what's funny that reminds me of? I don't know if you happened, because I know that you're busy doing so many other things, but have you happened to see Fernando Mendoza do any TV post-game interviews?
He's great.
On fields?
And
I mean, I've never seen anybody look. He stares into the question like it's his deal. And
some guys are wired to play that position, and clearly he is one of them. I think we are angling towards him being the Heisman Trophy winner, and if not, I think we're angling towards him being the number one pick in the draft, which is insane. I'm actually filling in for Jake Query a couple of times this week at the end of the week on the Fan, and so I've already kind of engaged my talk show host brain again. Know I'm going to be doing this a few more times the next couple of weeks. And one of the things that I'm going to discuss when I'm filling in on Thursday or Friday is going to be not just he being the potential number one pick, but how many draftable players are there on this Indiana roster? Because, obviously we've seen a handful of guys taken, and there has been, I'll look this up before Thursday, but I looked this up a few weeks ago. I want to say like in 36 or 37, because in the early days of the NFL draft, like the first player taken was a lineman from Indiana University.
Wow.
It has happened in the past, but I want to say maybe it's been since, because Antoine Randall wasn't a first-round pick, correct? He's like a second-round pick. Does that sound right?
Right.
I think Eric Moore, offensive lineman for the Giants, I think was the last first-round pick out of Indiana University. I will double. I don't think Adewale Agunleye was, but I'll look this up. But I think there's 6, 7, 8 guys on this Indiana football team that we will hear their name called at some point in time next April. And Kurt Cignetti deserves every plaudit, every credit he gets. But at the same time as well, it helps when you have some dudes. And clearly there are some dudes on that team. So Mendoza is going to get his name called first night, obviously, and if not first on the first night. But Surratt's going to have his name called. And Omar Cooper's going to have his name called. And Aiden Fisher's going to have his name called. And D'Angelo Pons, I think, is going to have his. I mean, there are so many guys that are NFL draft worthy. And to me, that's one of the fascinating stories we can tell of the many about this Indiana University football team.
Yeah, the player identification and development has clearly been remarkable, no doubt. Need any help? Let me know, buddy. Congratulations on getting to do that. I know you're busy and the high school season's going on yet as well. We're getting closer and closer. The sectional champions were crowned. How about my Highlanders pulling off a sectional championship? Oh, man, make sure you're following Greg for all of that and the IHSA network. Man, you got a busy schedule coming up, my friend.
November and May are my two busiest months of the year. So here is a glimpse into my world. Wednesday, I'll be in Cleveland doing college soccer for the Horizon League. Tomorrow, I've got an 11 a.m. college basketball game as IU Indy has. And they were one of the first kind of do this. And you're seeing schools do this now, have like an education day game, just kind of like minor league baseball teams do, where you have one day where you have just a bunch of field trip kids that show up and come to your game. So IU Indy is doing that tomorrow. Friday night, my game is Warren Central and Center Grove. Saturday, I have the 131st Monon Bell game at Wabash College as they play host to DePauw with likely a playoff berth on the line. So just an average week for me, even with the Colts having an off weekend. Sunday will be Leaf Day at the Rakestraw household, as the ones that hadn't fallen have now been knocked down by snow. So once it gets back to the 60s this weekend, there will be some serious leaf raking going on for Mr. Rakestraw.
Get a blower.
No, what you need to do is get the vacuum. And I had that at my old house. Forget the blower to put them in a pile. Just suck them up, mulch them, dump them in the bag, lather, rinse, repeat, and do that 20 times. There might be a trip to whatever Jim's new hardware sponsor is going to be this week for me to be able to get one of those and make life a whole lot easier.
We got to do that. Make sure you give him a follow. He is the man. He's everywhere. Greg Rakestraw, we appreciate you, brother.
See you, buddy.
Have a good one. We've got lots more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. We'll be bringing it to you right after these messages.
If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. When it comes to apparel and promotions, FreeThink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. FreeThink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. FreeThink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what FreeThink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer. Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Monday. A snowy Monday. What in the wide world of sports is going on? But cold out there. Snowy as well. As you heard, though, from Don Fischer, Saturday's game expected to be in the 60. It'll all be gone. So, looking forward to that. And I was curious in the break. I looked up the last Indiana University player to be drafted in the first round, Thomas Lewis. Yeah, wide receiver. New York Giants, 24th overall pick in 1994. Wow. 1994. It has been that long. Indiana's first ever first rounder, Corbett Davis, taken number 1 overall, as Greg pointed out, in 1938 by the Cleveland Rams. Wow. Since then, only a handful of Hoosiers have gone in the first round, making it a rare achievement for the program. No joke. But that is also something that is going to change. And not just first rounders, but getting Indiana players into the NFL. That is critical. That just continues. It all builds. It's part of the building process. And you saw there were guys came off of last year's team that weren't necessarily drafted, but are playing in the NFL right now. That defensive line, and they're probably going to have more off of the defensive line this year. These guys have done a hell of a job. There's Mikael Kamara, Aiden Fisher. He's likely going to get drafted. You know, he mentioned D'Angelo Pons, but then the wide receivers. There's going to be guys that Elijah Surratt and Omar Cooper. Yeah, they're going. Fernando's going to be likely is the first round pick. I mean, we saw that this weekend. There was a poll. ESPN conducted a poll of NFL personnel, GMs, and others on, I don't know if it was which quarterback or if it was just which player, but Fernando Mendoza was a resounding number 1. It wasn't close. So did his performance at Penn State solidify the Heisman Trophy? The numbers were not great, but you kind of forget about the numbers when you watch what happened on that last drive. The poise, you get sacked on your very first play. And that would have, for a lot of teams, that would have just been such a downer. But Indiana comes back, I think, on the very next play, gets a first down. And it's just they're never out of any game. Iowa, remember the Iowa game? Defensive effort, great defensive effort put up by Iowa.
But what happens? You can hold it, but man, it's going to break. Yesterday it was Omar Cooper at Iowa. It was Elijah Surratt. Charlie Becker. Holy cow. You want to talk about that might be the best thing. Elijah Surratt's injury may have been the best thing for Indiana because now you've gotten other guys involved. So you have an offense that was already really dangerous, and it's become more dangerous. You've added weapons that you already had, but hadn't been able to blossom yet. Well, Nowakowski, how about him? What a catch. These guys, they don't make a lot of catches sometimes, but it doesn't matter. They make the catch when it needs to be the catch. Fernando, the throws. I mean, wow. It is really fun to watch that offense play. I mean, it's crazy. And David says, it kills me when I hear all these pundits out there that makes a comment like, when he gets pressured, he can make mistakes. Well, yeah, that happens to everybody. So ignore people like that. But yeah, it's just remarkable to watch running backs. Kalon Black and Roman Hemby. Man. They're what about their name? Guys on the offensive line. Secondary. I think that, let's see, defensive line, you could get multiple guys. Linebacker, Aiden Fischer. Secondary, D'Angelo Pods. On the offense, Fernando Mendoza, of course. Will any of the running backs? We'll see. Will any of the linemen? We'll see. I don't know. But I would say that including undrafted free agents, Indiana will have players from every position group sign NFL contracts next year. That's huge. That will lead to help with recruiting. I mean, winning does that as well, but the ultimate goal for these guys is to get to the next level. And when you're putting guys at the next level, that is what they want. That's what they like to see. Dude, their quarterbacks, they're getting drafted number 1. I want to go to Indiana. Wow, their receivers are getting drafted in the first round. I want to go to Indiana and get thrown to by these quarterbacks. That's how it spreads. Kurt Cignetti has historically done a great job with quarterbacks. Continuing that tradition 2 years in a row now. Yeah. Curtis Rourke. I mean, look what he did. Whoops, wrong one. Curtis Rourke. Look what he did with him. Jason thinks Coogan may get drafted. Very possible. Carter Smith, possible. We'll see. Fred says this Indiana football team needs a banner. Yeah. Where do you hang banners in football stadiums? I guess you put up a sign. Yeah, they need a sign. Here's your sign. Big Ten champion. 2025. Now, I don't think they reward regular season champions anymore, although I think you should. Indiana would be the co-regular season champion unless there's some sort of tiebreaker that I'm not aware of that they do that
for this. I'm not sure. I like I said, I don't know if they officially award regular season champions for football. I think they recognize it. But I wonder if there's a tiebreaker, or if it's just co-champions if Indiana and Ohio State are 12-0. That's something. Co-Big Ten champions regular season right off the bat. And then if you could add a Big Ten championship to that would be something. That would get you the number one spot. Number one spot in the college football playoff, which would send Indiana to Pasadena to play in the Rose Bowl. Officially, the Rose Bowl. Not at the Rose Bowl, but in the Rose Bowl. Something they have not done since 1968. Although this would be a different sort of Rose Bowl trip. Now, if Indiana were to lose to Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game, my expectation is that they would go to Dallas for the Cotton Bowl. They try to recognize traditional relationships. The Big Ten's relationship with the Rose Bowl, intact. Big Ten champion will go to the Rose Bowl. The loser, in my opinion, goes to Dallas to the Cotton Bowl for two reasons. Number one, it's in proximity. But more importantly, number two, I think their relationship is with the Big 12. And the Big 12 will not have a team ranked higher than Indiana. And that's where it matters. So Indiana, being the highest ranked team, would go there instead of a Big 12 team, while the SEC champion would move to the number 2 slot as far as the rankings on the CFP. And with that, they would head to the Sugar Bowl, which has the relationship with the SEC, an existing relationship there. My opinion is that the Big Ten runner-up goes to the Cotton Bowl, as I said, and the SEC runner-up goes to the Orange Bowl, whose relationship I think is with the ACC, but they will not have a team ranked high enough to overcome the SEC runner-up. Losing in a conference game conference championship is not going to hurt you. Indiana would drop likely one spot to 3. That's my opinion. I think they go to 3. That way they go to the Cotton Bowl. The SEC loser will drop to number 4. That way they go to the the Orange Bowl. You're going to need notes. You're going to have to take notes on this. But I think that's how it's going to go. Jason says Indiana's got to get healthy now. Yeah, they do. They've got a bye week coming up after the Wisconsin game, ahead of the Purdue game, and then you don't get any rest. You go right into that Big Ten championship game at Lucas Oil Stadium on December 6th or the 8th? I can't remember. That's Saturday. And what a day that's going to be. You talk about a red out in the city of Indianapolis. It is going to be a blanket of red in Indianapolis. You'll have, during the day, Indiana basketball and Louisville, taking on Louisville. A little bit of red there. Yeah, you can call it crimson or whatever you want, but still, red, doesn't matter. Then that evening, Indiana and Ohio State. Scarlet and crimson. A lot of red. Going to be a lot of red. Brian says the chat boards for the Buckeyes are filled with fans thinking that they're going to beat Indiana. He said, well,
Of course. What do you expect Ohio State fans to think? First of all, I wouldn't expect them to think anything else, and I'm not bothered by it because that's what I expect. Their fans to expect their team to win easily. Indiana's still not getting the respect, and that's okay. You've got to earn it. They haven't earned it quite yet. I know that sounds crazy. They've gone to Iowa and won. They've gone to Oregon and won. They just went to Penn State and won. But now you've got to, if you want that ultimate everything, which that's a lot to ask for, granted, go to Indianapolis and beat Ohio State. Then you can just fly the double birds. You cannot say a word, fly the double birds, walk off. Just fly. And if I were looking at this from from an Indiana fan standpoint, I'd say let them be like that. It would be great. It would be great. That's when you want to beat them. What's the saying? Revenge is a dish best served cold. Let them think as they will. That's what you want the team to be like that. That's the attitude you want the team to have. I assume you're talking about the Big Ten championship tickets, but Jason says the ticket price has tripled since Saturday night. I guess that's because it kind of confirms that Indiana is going to the Big Ten championship, which I was already expecting that. They could have lost to Penn State, and they would still be going to the Big Ten championship. So, not sure why the ticket price jumped up like that. Andrew says, is Angelo Pizzo already writing a script for IU football this year? Well, Indiana's got to write the ending to that first. That's the bigger key. And they have not gotten to that yet. But it's coming. What a great week for Indiana athletics. We're going to take a quick break. Appreciate you being with us on this Monday, snowy Monday. Jim Coyle with you as always. Back with plenty more after these messages.
The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC. Local lives here.
Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's C-O-Y-L-E, to receive a discounted fundraiser.
If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. When it comes to apparel and promotions, Freethink has you covered, literally, whether it's 2 dozen or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. Freethink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. Freethink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what Freethink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and Dustin Dopirak joining us. Man, I was not expecting you, brother, so
I wasn't either.
Kudos to you, and appreciate you, Dustin, on a West Coast swing, and always, man, you're always the next man up. You're like Charlie Becker.
I mean,
Charlie Becker.
I did like call off. I needed like a rest segment like Pascal Siakam had yesterday, but
hey, whatever it takes, man. How are you doing?
I'm hanging in there. I'm doing better than the Pacers. They're having a rough stretch. They played yesterday without 9 guys. So I'm up and at 'em at this point. I'm in San Francisco. I'm flying to Salt Lake City today. San Francisco is gorgeous. Like my view outside my hotel window is ridiculous, and I don't think I want to leave. I think I'm just gonna like camp out here and say no. Like have my wife bring all my stuff out here. We're just staying in this hotel room. So
well, have her take a picture out the window at home, and that would probably convince you to stay where you are.
I saw the pictures from yesterday. There's snow. My lights look good. I feel good about that. We've got like lights on the porch, so it's already got a Christmas feel. So I was pretty proud of that. So I didn't have to deal with the snow. And I got the picture that made my house look good. So I was thoroughly rewarded by the snow yesterday.
Awesome! Congratulations.
70 years. So yeah, exactly. Everything's turned up Dustin on that exchange.
I started to call. I can't remember his name, Chevy Chase's name in Christmas vacation. Damn it! What was his name in Christmas vacation?
Clark Griswold.
Clark Griswold. Congratulations, Clark! It worked out. Oh man. Hey, a lot of talk about the Pacers early before the season started of tanking and this, that, because of what they were going to go through. Well, that was before all these stinking injuries. They don't have to try to tank.
No,
it's become a reality.
Yeah. No, it just happens. I mean, and you don't know. Obviously, there's some of these injuries are short term, and they got injured Nembhard back Saturday. Rick Carlisle told me TJ McConnell is ramping back up. I mean, he got hurt October 7th. He said, ask me at November 9th how he's doing. So I did. And he said, he's coming along pretty well. They use the phrase ramping up. So basically, like when they're talking about, okay, like he's conditioning, it's not so much the injury itself. It's just getting your whole body physically ready to play a basketball game. So he's apparently in that stage, having good workouts and everything. So they should get McConnell back pretty quickly. I don't think Ben Mathurin will be out too much longer. Like we've seen him warm up and stuff like that. He didn't warm up like to go, but he's capable of having a warm up. So I think that's good signs. And Pascal Siakam just sat out yesterday because he's just had to carry absolutely everything. Leading them in points, rebounds, assists. You could see the fatigue in Saturday's game when he was 1 of 10 from the floor to start the game. That basically he's just been asked to do everything, and he just needed a day on the second night of a back-to-back to get back right. Aaron Nesmith's forearm contusion. I don't think that'll be too long. He just came down really hard off a rebound, was able to play through that game, but he just woke up sore the next morning. I imagine just his whole right side probably felt sore the way he came down. So all of that will probably resolve itself in the not too distant future. And within a couple of weeks, they should be at least a mostly functional basketball team, not getting Obi Toppin back until February 1st. So there's that. But they have some pieces that works. You could see a team that can win some games on the floor in the not too distant future, but they're already 1-9. And you can't, with a team like this that's won like they have, like asking them to just not win, like if they come back, and they can win games, I don't think they're going to say, hey guys, I think we need a draft pick. They'll, let those guys, if they can win 34, 35 games, they'll let them, because it doesn't make a lot of sense for them to just to ask guys like this to not play. But what was out there yesterday did not have a chance. Just didn't have a chance. They fought, and it was 65-65 with like 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. And that's because they fought, because they couldn't score at any point. and they were just fighting and clawing to get anything they could, and they defended really well, and they slowed Jimmy Butler down and everything else. And then just the bottom fell out. They got 10-0 run to end the third quarter, and then they got beat 39-18 in the fourth quarter, and then that turns into a laugher. But it was a game, with 14 minutes of basketball or 15 minutes of basketball left to play. So that's what it's going to be like. I mean, they're going to let them fight, but as long as they lack this much firepower, they can't win NBA games. There's just too much talent in the league for you to actually beat somebody when you're running out the group they have. I mean, yesterday they played it. They had their like all-time leading scorer on the floor yesterday was Monte Morris in terms of guys who had the best scoring year ever. Monte Morris averaged 12.6 a game in Denver one year. That's the best like any of them has ever averaged in the NBA in terms of guys that were available yesterday. So like it's more or less physically impossible to win an NBA game with what they ran out.
Yeah, before I forget, I want to mention that legendary former NBA player and coach Lenny Wilkins passed away at 88. Man, he was a smooth player. But I remember watching him play. It was an all-star 9 times, twice led the league in assists, and just one of those great players from the 70s. Played, led the Sonics to the 1979 NBA title. I think that was with the big boy, wasn't it? Daggone it. Oh, man. Used to call the games on ESPN, drove people nuts. UCLA center, but
Bill Walton? No, that's
Bill Walton.
That's Portland. You're thinking
of Portland.
The Trailblazers won, I think, 2 years.
77. Yeah, 77. Yeah, that's what it was.
I'm gonna have to look up the Sonics. I'm gonna basketball reference the Seattle championship team. But yeah, no, the news broke about half an hour or so before tip-off yesterday, and so in San Francisco, and that was kind of cool to see the response. Basically, I would think Mark Spears from Manscaped's the name I think everybody knows. He's on ESPN. Was there, and he asked Steve Kerr about him, and Steve hadn't heard yet, and his jaw dropped. He was just like, no, and because he had played for Lenny in Cleveland, and he just talked about just how much he learned from playing from him. And then Rick Carlisle did the same, and it was because Lenny had been president of the the NBA Coaches Association before that, and Rick just learned not just saw just what he could do as a coach, but what he brought to the players union, and just how he fought for pensions, or the coaches, not union, coaches association, and just how he fought for coaches to get better pensions, better pay, more security. Basically saw what a coaches association president could do by standing aside. I mean, they're not the same as a union, but they can make recommendations and kind of stand up for that group of guys. And so Rick learned a lot just from seeing what he was able to accomplish. And I think one other thing Rick said, he was just he was so eloquent and such a gentleman. And I think that's the impression I've always got from Lenny Wilkins. Certainly he's a guy that I've only known or followed from a distance. I mean, he was coaching certainly when I was a kid. I remember him coaching those Cleveland teams that were a thorn in the side of the Bulls. The Bulls would always win those series, but Cleveland would make it a game. Obviously you remember one of Jordan's great shots is beating Cleveland. And again, Jordan always won. The Bulls always won. But the Gerald Wilkins teams, with Mark Price and Brad Doherty and those guys, were led by Lenny, and he was tremendous. And what he was able to do, with those groups, and still the only guy that's a Hall of Famer as a coach and as a player. It's a really remarkable thing to accomplish. You've seen Hall of Fame caliber guys try to coach, in recent years. Steve Nash, gave it a shot. We've seen players try to do this, and you see how hard it is. You see just how much it takes out of you, and it's not easy for guys that are that good to do it, because you have a set of skills that you have, and trying to demand everybody else to achieve it is entirely different than accomplishing it yourself when you're that kind of player. So just amazing the stuff that he was able to do, and was cool to hear about it. I think Rick Carlisle also mentioned Richie Adebayo passed recently, and he gave a shout out to him in the game. And so happened to be in town covering Kerr and Carlisle for that, to see two guys that really know what Lenny brought was really something. Best player, I think, on that Sonics team, Paul Silas, I think is a guy.
Paul Silas.
Me, Fred Brown, Jack Sigma, Dennis Johnson on that team.
Jack Sigma. What are some names? Blast from the past, man.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. Who's the leading scorer on this team? Let me cycle down and get this. Yeah, Jack Sigma averaged 15.6 on that team. Dennis Johnson averaged 15.9.
DJ.
So those some dudes on that team. So Silas is probably your all-time most famous guy, but that was 14 years in the league. He was 35, and at that point in the league, 35, you're not producing too much, but he averaged 7 rebounds. So they had Tom Lagarde is another name. Like I said, Fred Brown, Gus Williams averaged 19.2 a game on that team. So those are some interesting names in late 70s NBA.
Yeah, fun stuff too, man. And then you mentioned Dennis Johnson, who would go on to play with the Celtics and be a big part of that that team. So, but Lenny Wilkens, man, he was one of the greats, one of the all-time greats, and obviously one of the most respected guys as a coach, as everything, and just been around was with the NBA his entire life. Just was someone who dedicated his life to that game. So. Congratulations to all the things that he was able to accomplish. And
rest in peace.
Absolutely. Back to the Pacers, man. They so what do they do now? They Indiana. I watched them yesterday. Very, very shorthanded team as well. But man, when you're shorthanded in the NBA, it's so much harder to get away with it.
Yeah. No, I mean, because everybody else has depth. you know, all these guys are getting paid. You're not running out. Freshmen trying to figure it out, like it's everybody you're running out there is pros. And, I mean, like even the Pacers are doing everything they can by the roster rules to add to what they have. I mean, they've added, they've got 2 guys on 10-way hardship contracts right now, and Jeremiah Robinson Earl and Cody Martin. Just picked up Monte Morris on Saturday, guys that have some experience in the league, and they're making a difference. I mean, I was really impressed by what Martin and Robinson Earl were able to do defensively. They really did a good job of slowing, Golden State down for a while. I mean, I think Butler was really the only guy who got going for most of those first 3 quarters until you finally saw some dudes just sort of pick it up down the stretch, and they just kind of saw it fall apart, missed enough shots to turn it into some transition opportunities, but they really fought up until that point. I think Morris looks like a nice player. I mean, he's very much a pro, had 8 points on 3 of 5 shooting, 4 assists, looked really solid, didn't turn the ball over. They're doing everything they can to pick up bodies, like add pieces. I mean, they signed and cut Mac McClung, took Monte Morris a while to get healthy because they wanted to sign him in September, but he had a calf strain. So they're trying everything they can, around the edges to add a guy here and add a guy there, but they're just missing so much firepower. And so it is just going to be hard for them to get to put a team together that can win games. And so they just hang in there and rehab everybody and hope that you get there in a place where you can still respond. But I think all you can do is put your best foot forward, because I think the best 2 things you can get out of this at this point are show the guys that are vets that you're not going to let go of the rope as an organization. Because, again, like Aaron Nesmith, Andrew Nembhard, Pascal Siakam, these guys have won too much for coach to come in and say, hey, we're just going to call it a year because we need a draft pick. And they're going to be like, for who? Like, why? What do we need a draft pick for? Like, we got a whole team here. We're just hurt, and they could get a helpful piece. I mean, I think at the end of the day, every time I see these lineups run out, I get somebody send me a picture or a video of Darren Peterson or AJ DeBonsa, it's supposed to be the top 2 picks in the draft. And I'm like, I don't think it's going to happen. But, and they're also, I just can't imagine if they're even close to functional, they're going to have a hard time telling these guys to call it a day. But like right now, there's just nothing you could do. Again, you can't, you just try to fight as hard as you can. I think Rick Carlisle was just like, like we're going to hold on to positives, that kind of thing, like Brooklyn and Washington Wizards and those guys that are the other 1-9 teams right now, they're supposed to be like this and they know it, like they have a sense top to bottom that, they need more talent and they need to add more guys and they need to be in the draft and they need to be developmental. The Pacers have on their roster a team that can win. It's just not healthy. And, on part of it's not going to be, some of it will be. So their goal is just to try to hang in there, keep running out, fight for something, don't let go of the rope and like hope that they can put together something functional. Now, what will probably end up happening is, they end up winning somewhere between 30 and 40 games. They narrowly miss out on a play-in opportunity, and they win enough to feel good about themselves, win enough to feel like they fought, but lose enough to still end up in the lottery. And that can add some talent that they're probably going to need. Might not be a top 3 pick, not be winning with one of those lottery balls, but they could really use a talented big man if there's somebody in there. I think Chris Sinak is a name that stands out to me. Just somebody that could come and make a difference. They still are going to be just okay at center. And, even when they get Siakam, Nesmith, Nembhard, not Nembhard, but Mathurin, everybody else back, they're still going to need a big guy. Certainly Tyrese Halliburton is going to need a new pick and roll partner with Miles Turner gone. So they could use that for next year, but it's just hanging on to try to get whatever you can, and then adding some talent and turn next year into something.
Yeah, and then I saw that ex-Pacer IU player Victor Oladipo joined the Bucks G League team as he's been trying to come back. We saw he was playing for a China team, I think, and been playing well.
Yeah,
and been playing well. So will he make it back?
Who knows? I mean, when you get in the G League, you never know what your opportunity is going to look like. I mean, it's obviously, it's a pretty significant step down, and you first off, when you watch a G League game, you get a sense of just how many good players there are, playing basketball out there, and that
since he left the league early. And he's in the G League. I'm wondering if he could come back to IU and play another year in IU or Louisville. Louisville managed to get.
Yeah, he cannot use that fourth year of eligibility after making $100-something million. No.
Yeah,
you don't. For as much as the eligibility rules and the amateurism rules have been stretched in the NIL era, you still cannot go make $100 million professionally and come back. You can apparently go be G League Ignite and come back. I guess I think they're talking about that. That's crazy. Now, Ignite you've always been able to do, but they're talking about letting G League guys come back. I don't love that idea at all.
Talking about it, they have. Louisville had a guy that didn't he play 3 years in the G League?
I don't know. I got it up. I got to make sure I got the facts right. I know.
And then somebody else has a G Leaguer. I forget who the team was, the first one to do it.
Yeah, I think. I thought the reason they did it was because Ignite folded. I thought that was the reason for it, was that because Ignite folded, you could look into bringing those guys because it's a different story. I get that, because it's basically like you don't have a team. If you were playing for Ignite, you're not. Ignite was the purpose of Ignite. Was to develop you. It was to say, okay, like here's this alternative to college. So I don't have a problem with anybody that was playing for Ignite going to college. That again, like it's a folded up, organization. But it's different to if you're in somebody's somebody's farm system, basically. If you've been drafted or if you've been signed as a free agent or put on a G League team to start, and it just doesn't work out for you, and then you're like, I'm gonna go back to college and see what happens. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Like it is different. Again, Ignite was a different story. Ignite, you were promised something that isn't there anymore, and so you're owed, I think, the opportunity to go play college ball if you want to, as far as that's concerned. But if you were playing for an affiliated G League team that had a parent club, no, God, no, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But yeah, so, but point being, like if Oladipo plays well enough, he could have a shot. Again, Mac McClung was, the Pacers have signed 3 guys, more or less off the street so far. Well, 4 guys so far off the street this season.
Off the street. I love that term. Love that term, off the street.
Yeah, which is a lie, because they're doing stuff. It's not like you literally found them in a playground. This isn't like 1976 where you like show up at Rucker and go find somebody who was hooping over there and saying like, you're going to play for my ABA team. Like, it's not like that. Like these guys are obviously training, they're working out, they have agents, they're looking at all opportunities. Mostly what you're doing is grabbing them before they get on the plane to Italy or whatever. And so, but still, like there are opportunities, there are chances, and you get some of these guys and you can throw them in there and they're functional. Like I said, I mean, Jeremiah Robinson Earl and Mac McClung were both about to start G League camp, and McClung gave them a couple good games. Robinson Earl's really defended and rebounded well. His rebound numbers are crazy. He's not scoring at all, but he's playing really, really, really good defense. Cody Martin didn't have an opportunity coming out of the offseason, was just hanging around with his brother in Dallas, and they brought him in for a workout, gave him a shot. So Oladipo will have an opportunity to make his case. I mean, again, it's not easy in the G League because they know, there's a whole bunch of guys that have really good big numbers in the G League. I mean, just because you're averaging 30 doesn't mean, that you can play at the NBA level, but they're going to keep their eye on you. And if they feel like Oladipo is back to being who he was, somebody will give him an opportunity, and somebody probably will give him a chance down the road. Doesn't mean it'll be the same. Probably won't be an all-star again, but I think a lot of people were impressed by what he did with that the Chinese team with Guangzhou Lu Lions. He had a couple 20-point games in preseason. They see the scoring up, ability is still there, and maybe you come into a position where you need a Victor Oladipo, maybe on a short-term basis, maybe on a longer-term basis. I think it speaks well for him that he's going to give it a shot in the G League. Not easy to ask a guy who's been an all-star to say, all right, you're going to get on buses now and you're going to play in, either mostly empty NBA arenas at like noon for like a matinee game on a Tuesday, or you're going to go play out in places like Grand Rapids, and I don't even know where the Wisconsin Herd play their games. It speaks to some level of humility to go even take a shot like that. So that gives teams reason to give you another opportunity.
Absolutely. Dustin Dopirak from the Indy Star with us right now, the Indiana Pacers beat writer. Too many teams.
Yeah. Well, IU had a week, huh? I mean, geez.
We'll talk about that when we come back. Everybody, Colts as well. What a weekend it was. Dustin Dopirak, make sure you give him a follow. We're back with plenty more from Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after these messages. Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemooreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Monday, a frosty Monday with some snow on the ground out there. Damn, I didn't want to. I was in Chicago yesterday. Dustin Dopirak from the Indy Star, Indy Pacers beat writer with us. I was in Chicago yesterday, Dustin, with Indiana basketball, and all I was thinking about was getting the hell out of there as quickly as possible because I knew what was coming, and boy, did we. Got lucky. the Bears, unfortunately, were playing. That damn game got over right about the same time as I'm trying to, and I was parked downtown, and so I had to go through Lakeshore Drive, and I'm like, gee, what a perfect time for that. But oh man, that, and damn it, the state of Indiana has to put 3 lanes on 65 from West Lafayette all the way to Gary. Damn it, that becomes a parking lot between there on 2 lanes. You can't get through anywhere. Drives me insane. Just wanted to,
I don't know about West Lafayette through Gary. That's not that.
Oh, you'd be shocked.
Yeah, closer to Gary.
It's the trucks. It's the truck traffic, because you can't get around, and it just backs up. It's crazy. That part. Dumb driving makes me mad. I wish I had a paintball gun and I could shoot cars that were driving not to my standards. Just bop, 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 bop. Get out of there, move over, something.
There's bad jokes I'm going to skip right now. No, there's reasons that's not legal. There's reasons you can't do that. I feel like that would end poorly for a lot of people. But yeah, no, it can be rough. It's usually not. I mean, you get through the windmills, it's not too bad, you know. It's not, that's not fun driving, but it's not. You can get around the semis at that point. But yeah, you get.
It was so funny though. When I was coming home, it was horrible until like 40 miles from 465 or whatever it goes to 3 lanes. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, it opened up like a delta. Yeah, and I'm like going, "Hello, let's be the 3rd lane." Oh well, that's my rant for the day. What is the deal,
up, man? To make it happen, maybe we'll see.
Right. Yeah. The gambling cheaters are getting caught. It doesn't matter if it's in college, NBA, now Major League pitching. Are you kidding me? Cleveland Guardians pitchers Emmanuel Claus and Luis Ortiz charged with fraud, conspiracy, and bribery stemming from an alleged scheme to rig individual pitches that led to gamblers winning hundreds of thousands of dollars, according to an indictment unsealed by federal prosecutors Sunday. Ortiz was arrested yesterday in Boston, appears in court today. Claus is not in custody right now, but boy, you're going to get caught. There's no plainer way to say it to people. If you cheat gambling, you're going to get caught. It may take 2 years, but they're going to catch you.
There's so much about this story that's wild to me. I mean, like, and I'm still picking it up. Like, you know, I didn't have a chance to read into everything yesterday, but they were like individual pitches. I mean, like, I think like what the wild thing is, like, and they did this for so little money compared to what they make. And I imagine the reason why is it just seemed like so easy, because you're like, how are you going to know I missed a pitch on purpose? Like, seriously, like, because it's not, you know, how much is that really going to I mean, we're talking about pitches in like May and June, you know, like you're not throwing anything. Like, this isn't like throwing the World Series, you know, like you're like, if I just decide what pitch I'm going to waste one, you know, like, and you can make how much money off me doing that? Like, that's ridiculous. And like, if you're like, I got paid, if you're like, I make $20 million a year, I got paid $5,000 to spike one. Like, who cares? Who could possibly care? You know, but like, you know, who does? The people have to pay. The people have to say, yeah, this guy bet that one pitch right. Like, I'm going to see why he thought that. And then you find out, like, it's pretty amazing. Like, you know, there is some question about like level of enforcement, you know, like a priority of like, okay, we got the guy who, like there are people that we have a hard time getting, and we got the guy who threw one pitch he wasn't supposed to throw, didn't like influence an outcome, but just spiked the pitch, made $5,000 off of it. Like, you know, it feels like a petty situation, but it's also like, yeah, you will get caught. Like, because if they see that you're betting that and they're automatic on stuff like that, they don't want to give you that money, you know? So they'll find out if you had an inside guy, and, you know, they will, if they put together these patterns and can see like, all right, like there's no way that you're winning this much money off of these kind of bets. Like, the level of random is entirely too much. I think the best part was, I think they're like, they like, I think Emmanuel Lacrosse threw a pitch that was supposed to be a ball, and Andy Pajes swung at it and screwed up the entire thing. And it's like, I watched a lot of Andy Pajes at bats. I watched a lot of Dodgers, and like that checks out. Like throw a slide, like that Andy Pajes swung at a slider he was not supposed to swing at in the dirt, messed up somebody's entire prop bet. Absolutely checks out, 100%.
I can't believe that they have prop bets like. I mean,
that's the insane part. No,
there's nothing. There is literally nothing you cannot bet on.
Yeah, and that's the problem. That's the problem, because you're not. I mean, what I'm sure this happened is because for the players it felt like you're risking nothing. Like you don't feel like you're blowing the integrity of the game based on when you decide to throw a waste pitch. You know, like they didn't lose that game because they, you know, like I saw like one pitch Ortiz threw in the dirt and it was ridiculous. But like, how much does that impact a game in May? You know, like it's not even like you know, like game in October, one pitch makes a difference. You know, like you can, if you fall behind the guy as opposed to get ahead of him early in the count, you know, like that can change the course of an inning. You know, because like then you're in different counts and you might have to throw one and that change, you know, but like middle of May, you know, like middle of May, you know, like, so it's like they're not, they don't feel like they blew anything. They don't feel like they were like, you know, letting their teammates down. They wasted one pitch, you know, like that didn't have any real impact. And they're like, yeah, somebody throws me $5,000. Who's going to notice? You know, like, yeah, this seems like easy money. Yeah, I'll help you out, random gambler guy. It's no skin off my nose. Never thinking a million, you know, you're not thinking they're going to get you for that. And so like, and that's part of the reason why. It's also like, if you can impact stuff that's not win or lose, you don't feel like it's the same as throwing something, you know, that you're, you know, giving it away or point shaving, like, you know, the kid at Boston College when he got in trouble with the mob, you know, you don't think of it the same way. And then you do get busted. But like, there's all opportunity for, you know, guys to, you know, manipulate something that doesn't change the real impact of the game. And so they look like as they're not doing the same thing. And also it's just like when you can bet on this type of stuff, like that's when it really gets to be an addiction really fast. You know, like it's not the same as, you know, you had to call, you know, like when you had to call your bookie, you know.
Well, if you're getting the information, it's not much of an addiction.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like in this case, it's like, oh, well, I can bet on I'm losing. I can bet on something else, you know, to get my money back. And like that fuels it. It's not the same of like, again, like you got to pull out your newspaper like you did in the old days, find out what the line is, you know, call your bookie and be like, hey, I see, you know, this team's getting 7. I want to lay $50 on this. You know, it's like, and that guy's not legal anyway, to start with, and know some other guys who can do some other legal things if you choose not to pay him. And you know, like it's too easy. You know, it's too easy to bet stuff. Crazy. And then it becomes too easy to tell somebody, hey, how about you just, you know, tell me you're going to throw a ball on this pitch and I'll win this much money. Like it's not.
I can't believe that they have time to bet balls and strikes. It's crazy.
When you're invested in it, you have all the time.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're that looped into it, you can find time for anything, you know, and that's the thing. It's like,
well, if you're making $28,000 to $38,000 a pitch, I guess I'd be doing it too.
Guys come up to them, guys meet them and be like, hey, I got an idea. You know, like you realize you can bet on every pitch you throw, you know, like how about you don't have to, you know, like how about this idea? I'll make a whole bunch of money if you just every once in a while, you know, I tell you when to just, you know, waste one, when to just miss. How hard? You know.
All right. What's up next for you, brother?
Got a flight to Utah later. So yeah. And then it's Phoenix game on Thursday. So I'll fly to Phoenix on Wednesday. So 4 more days out west and then come back home. So, but yeah, a few more.
Enjoy it. Safe travels. Look forward to you coming back and seeing your lights at home, Clark, so you can see the fruits of your labor. Appreciate you, brother. You have a great day. Appreciate you. Dustin Dopirak, the Indy Star beat writer for the Indy or Indy Pacers beat writer for the Indy Star. Man, another fun day. Appreciate everybody for joining us as always. More coming up tomorrow, of course. Man, looking out there, I still can't get over the snow out there. Was not ready for that. Yeah, dashing through the snow in a sleigh, whatever. Damn it, not ready for that. We haven't even gotten to Thanksgiving, but appreciate you guys. We're back tomorrow to do it again. Thanks to everybody for joining us, and we'll be back as always. Until tomorrow, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.